Okay, we're here at the Cary Town Hall waiting for Senators Burr and Tillis. They haven't showed up, but there is a crowd outside that does not fit in the facility. And so I decided to roam around and capture people's statements and questions that they would pose to the senators if they were here and if they could get in. So let's start with this gentleman right here. What zip code are you from?
27503.
Were you paid to show up here?
No, I'm not paid. I'm not fake. I'm not bussed in.
Are you alternative facts or anything like that?
No, I'm not.
Okay, let's hear, what would you say to the senators if they were here?
Okay, mine is more of a statement rather than a question.
That works.
And so my concerns as an American that I'm greatly concerned are on a number of issues. The first issue that I would want or expect the senators to follow through on is that the majority of Americans demand that Donald Trump release his taxes. We have to have that information to show his involvement with the Russians, and if there's any truth to anything he has said about his business deals. The second thing I would expect him to do is to follow up on the collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. Get the facts out, make sure that that's an independent, bipartisan commission that uncovers the facts. I'd also expect him to follow through, both the senators to follow through on demanding that Trump fix his conflicts of interest. Contrary to belief, Americans do follow the Emoluments Clause. There are expectations from the majority of Americans that he fully fixes those conflicts of interest. The next thing I'd like the senators to pay attention to is that we closely follow how they voted for Trump's his administration. And so far they've given the green light to everybody. Some of them may be okay. Some of them are.
And by everybody you mean his cabinet appointments?
His cabinet appointments.
Okay.
Some of them are shockingly unqualified. I would bring up three specifically that I think are totally unqualified. The first is Betsy DeVos for education. The second is a joke, and that's Rick Perry for energy. And the third is the worst, that's Scott Pruitt for the EPA. Today, it has been brought out in public on the media that Scott Pruitt's emails clearly demonstrate that he was in close cooperation, maybe even in collusion with the fossil fuel industry in his previous position as the Oklahoma AG. So those are all very, very important things that we are specifically focused on, and the senators, both Senator Burr and Tillis, they need to be very well aware that they are put on notice here, that we are watching them very, very closely. We are paying attention to what they do, and we are going to be in the voting booth, and they need to pay attention to their constituents.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the senators or statements?
I have a question.
Sure.
For both of our senators, Mr. Tillis and Mr. Burr, it seems to me that you believe your constituents are the people who agree with you.
The next town hall.
Actually, I work a regular job. I wasn't paid to come here or anything. I'm just a person with a job, and I pay you. I am theoretically represented by you, but you are not making any effort to learn what I'm concerned about. And I feel that that is absolutely out of line and a failure on your part to honorably discharge your job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any statements for the senators or questions?
When I was in school, thanks to Obamacare, I could graduate because I didn't need my school to pay for my health insurance. So I could stop taking out student loans. I could stop costing the taxpayers money. I want to know how you're going to make sure that people like me can contribute to the economy without being worried that we're going to get sick and not be able to afford health care.
Wonderful. And were you paid to show up here?
I sure was not.
What is your home zip code?
27514. I'm from Chapel
Wonderful.
Hill.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions or statements for the senators?
I'll make one.
Yes, sir.
My name is John Honor. My zip code is 27517. I wear this hat on purpose. And one of the reasons is, in my experience, there have been a lot of people whose name on that wall up there in Washington who are Mexican, who are Muslim, who are Jewish, of all backgrounds. And it bothers me that this nation is going through what it's going through. I went to jail 3 times back in the 60s. You may not have been born by then. That's just how old I am. And I have a grandson now, and I have to tell you that I'm very disappointed in all of the decisions that are being made. Let me just point out a couple. One, the gentleman talked about earlier. I would demand that Mr. Trump and all of his cabinet, particularly his advisors, including Mr. Bannon, testify or give testimony under oath to the FBI and declare that they know nothing, they have no relationships with the Russians, that they have not been in contact with, and if they have, what occurred, and have that testimony presented to the American people. Secondly, his taxes. He needs to have ensured that the president show the American people their taxes. I worked for 45 years and retired, and I'm not on welfare, so take a good look at me. And if I paid taxes for 45 years, the last 10 of which my wife and I paid over $100,000 a year in federal taxes alone. I'm proud of that, and I don't want a dime of it back. But if I can do that, if the billionaire can walk around here and drive America in the grave, then I want to see his taxes as well. And I also support what the other gentleman said about the appointees, none of which I think are qualified. And my real beef, I have 2 real beefs. One's with Jeff Sessions, who I have known all of my life. He hasn't changed. He's not going to investigate anything that has to do with civil rights. And if you support him, I can't support you. So I'm just going to stop there. I don't know. I've called your office.
Any handicap here?
Nope.
Anybody with disabilities?
I've called your office many times, and so you may have heard my name many times.
We
So
appreciate
thank
your
you.
statement, sir. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments for the senators? Comments?
Yeah, I can say something.
Sure.
So I'm here for many reasons. My name is Barb King, zip code 27713. I'll just pick one, and that is I'm very concerned about the current momentum put forward mainly by Trump to repeal Affordable Care Act before there is a replacement for it. There are things to be changed to make it better, great. But, and I don't think I'm being overly dramatic here, there is blood on your hands if you don't make darn sure that there is going to be a replacement before you do anything to that act, which has given health care to millions of people who didn't have it before and who won't be able to afford it if you repeal it without an alternative.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sir, statements, questions, comments?
Hi, my name is Matt. I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a white male, a Christian, a liberal, and I've voted Democrats my whole life, and I did not vote for Donald Trump or Burr or Tillis, but as long as I'm talking to y'all, I want to know where his tax returns are, and frankly, I feel sorry for Donald Trump. He's clearly got a lot of issues. His mental health is in question. He needs help, and I am willing to forgive him. I'm willing to understand, but he needs to do the right thing and seek help, if not for us and for him. And I'm not saying that in any sort of judgmental way. It's just I hope the best for our country, and I hope the best for him, and I just want him to seek help.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay.